14 Deadline live stream. I'm pretty sure I've done a millennial pause there. I have no idea when this was going live. And as you could tell, I'm a little bit flustered going into this game week 14 deadline. Unfortunately, I have a full-time job, and that has gotten in the way of me having any idea what to do ahead of game week 14. So you are in for a treat. For 45 minutes, I will be losing my mind on exactly what to do with my transfers, and you get to watch it all for free. So that is probably better than any daytime television that you are going to watch in the next 45 minutes. So if you just tuned in right now, a quick reminder, some house rules. 6 p.m. to deadline. You got to make sure you've got that locked in. 6 p.m. deadline. That is 45 minutes from now, because of course game week 14 is a midweek fixture. Then on the weekend it is game week 15. It isn't a double game week for anybody that is wondering about it. That is not the case at all. So bit of like a schedule. There ain't a schedule. I'm going to be honest. Get your questions in the chat. I'm going to go through my team because I honestly don't know what I'm doing. You can probably see in the title, I'm in a good spot right now, 55k in the world. But am I riding on a bit of luck? Yes, I bloody well am. So I got to make sure that my transfers are actually pretty damn decent. I've done my transfer plan video, so I'm going to fall back on that a little bit to hopefully have some idea of what I'm going to be doing. But importantly, you guys can help me decide what to do. So get yourself in the chat. Let me know who's tuning in. Let me know your questions. I can see TX live in the chat saying, should I spend points to take out Caicedo or not? That all comes down to how strong the rest of your squad is. If you've got a good bench, then I probably would say, you know, bring that person in. But if Caicedo is a 3-match ban, and I believe it is, then really I would be looking to sell him on. Because at the end of the day, he's offering no value to your teams. And while he's not expensive, there are good options. Anderson, for example, of Nottingham Forest, a very easy player to go to if you don't have the funds to go anywhere else. And Andy saying Palmer or no, I think it is a big risk going for Palmer as a long-term option, but it sounds like from Maresca's quotes that Palmer is good to go, and I think he will start. If I had to predict the Chelsea team, it's probably going to be something like in the midfield, Andre Santos, Enzo, Palmer in the 10 or off the right-hand side, Estevao somewhere in the middle, and then we probably see Gittins on the left-hand side with João Pedro up top. Delap looking like a bit of a rusty player as of right now. So keep putting your stuff in the chat, guys. I will be sure to get to it. I have covered off the detailed stuff, Sarr replacements, Senesi replacements in my transfer plans video, but I will try and run through a few of them. Let me just see if I've got a few bits here. I've got a few bits here that we can go through, so no bother whatsoever. So this is how the bloody well team's looking. Let's take a look at this team right now. And I got to remind myself what my team is. Like I said, busy 2 days. I have been off radar with fantasy, and midweek with busy work is not a good combination. So this is how the team is looking as of right now. We got Raya between the sticks, a back three of Richards, Anderson and Virgil van Dijk. Richards, it sounds like, is one of those where he could easily not play, but is there enough of a reason for me not to start him? No, of course I am going to play him and hope for the best. Anderson, terrible fixture against Man City, but again, can he rack up defensive contributions? Yes, I think he can. Virgil, fine, is what it is. Do I expect Sunderland to score? Most probably. Then in terms of the midfield three, Enzo, I'm just going to roll the dice, hope for the best. Semenyo, perfectly fine. Bruno, fine. Ndai, not ideal, but do I need to sell Ndai? No, I don't, because if you look at the bench, I've got Ismaila Sarr and Senesi, both red flagged for differing reasons. Senesi, of course, suspended for game week 14. Sarr out for literally the foreseeable future. Even if he wasn't going African Cup of Nations, the injury looks like he is going to be out for a decent amount of time regardless. So we got problems. The squad depth is woeful. I've got nobody to fall back on, and I've got 2 free transfers, thankfully. Just to give you guys a bit of context on that situation, 2 free transfers and 1.9 million in the bank. I'm going to leave it like this for a minute. I'm going to go through some of the chat. Then I'm going to go through my thought process with 40 minutes to go until the deadline. So let me just check this out right now. Lelix saying best Sarr replacement. Already have Saka, Bruno, Gakpo and Minter. Money, no problem. Money, no problem for Lelix here. So end of the day, firstly, like I discussed in the previous video here, I came to the conclusion that Bruno Fernandes is the best replacement. You already own him. Anyone that's looking for a Sarr replacement, I still think Bruno is the guy to go to. Now, In terms of replacements that you don't own, I do think Elliot Anderson is a consideration. Are you going to be getting loads of returns, attacking returns? No, I don't think that is the case. Look at his numbers, 0.26 expected goal involvement per 90. It's fine, to be honest, at a 5.3 million option. When we compare that to Minter at 0.35, who is very much more of a flash in the pan player, trying to get that out. Basically what it means is has a great moment, then maybe has a few bad moments. The big thing about Anderson, 13.46 DEFCON per 90. So this guy basically has a floor of 4 points every single game pretty much on average, which is fantastic. Then you sprinkle in some of the returns. I think that's great. So for you, if money's no object, then of course I would love the idea of maybe a Phil Foden as a differential, but I do think Elliot Anderson is a nice pickup to free up some funds to invest elsewhere in your team, but of course that is going to depend on the rest of your squad. And I do apologise, I am not giving you eye contact right now because I'm just seeing if there is any news on Twitter about things, and I can't see anything. I can't see anything right now. I have Welbeck. Should I do Senesi to Chow or Welbeck to Voltemada? For me, if I own Danny Welbeck, if you look at the fixtures of Brighton, home against Villa, perfectly fine. Then you got West Ham in game week 15. Liverpool away, not ideal. But I actually think Welbeck is one of those that you could easily keep this week. Of course, Voltemada is good with the two fixtures coming up, Spurs and Burnley. But it feels very much a sideways transfer. So for that reason, I think Senesi to Chow probably offers a bit more value. Senesi for Riley and Bruno for Caicedo, I've taken a minus 4 point hit for that. Yes, I do not mind that at all. As far as minus 4 point goes, that is a solid one, I'm going to be honest. I think that's a really good combination there. Which Chelsea asset to own? I don't think there are many good ones to own right now, I'm going to be honest. I think Estevao is an incredible punt, but I don't really think beyond game week 14, 15, he's great. For me, it probably is going to be a case of, for Chelsea, Enzo, I can't get behind buying him as of right now. I think Cucurella is okay as a bit of a differential defender, but of course he is quite expensive. Arsenal alternative defender to Timber to replace Senesi with 0.5 in the bank. Well, really, I'm no Arsenal fan, those that know, Chelsea fan here. But if Saliba's injury is a bit more long-term, then I think we're just going to see a continuation of Mascara and, is it Hikape? Whatever it is. Those two, take your pick. I don't know Arsenal well enough that if Saliba returns before Gabriel, who remains the left-sided centre-back? So anybody in the chat right now, if you're an Arsenal fan, you know a bit more details, please drop some information. Drop some wisdom in the chat of who it would be. Who would you start between Elliot Anderson or Minter? Very differing players. I think Anderson has the higher floor. What I mean by that is, if you play this game 10 times out, I think Elliot Anderson will get 4 points minimum. I think Minter is a 2 point player, but I think the ceiling of Minter is much higher than that of Anderson. And personally, I always chase the higher ceiling picks, so it would be Minter in that scenario. Marcus, hope you're well, mate. Gavin saying start Richards or O'Reilly this week. Very differing players, but I think if I owned Nico O'Reilly, I would have to start him this week. I think I would have to. Ndai to Rice and Senesi to Chow. Yeah, don't mind it. Of course, just realise if that's your third Arsenal pick, is Rice the one that you want to have as your third pick? Otherwise, yes, I can't really disagree with that. I think Rice is perfect for your teams as a long-term option. Right. Keep putting your stuff in the chat, guys, but I probably do need to actually sort my team out a little bit. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to put a poll in, because the big question as well is, who the hell do we captain? This is a real big week for captaincy. I think captaincy is so important that it will dictate whether you get a green or a red arrow. So who is your game week 14 captain? So obviously I've only got 4 options on here, but I'm just going to put the obvious ones. So I think Erling Haaland first and foremost, and a reminder of the fixtures. You're not going for anyone at Bournemouth. Haaland, of course, is a pick. I don't think there's enough at Newcastle. Saka absolutely is an option, so we're going to put him in. Then, of course, we've got Brighton Villa, no. Burnley Palace, no. Wolves Forest, no. Chelsea Leeds, no. Liverpool Sunderland, yes. With Mo Salah, possibly if there's a Mo Salah owner out there. And then I'm going to put Bruno Fernandes in the chat. If you've got captaincy on anybody else outside of the 4, please do let me know in the chat. Just put something like, my captain is the, and we'll get a bit of an idea on where the spread is going to be. But I think those 4 are the ones that are the most popular captains going into game week 14. I've still not absolutely locked in who mine is going to be. I have this nagging feeling that the boring pick is the right pick, and that is going to be Erling Haaland. But I think Bruno Fernandes against this West Ham team is quite hard to resist as well, because West Ham are just bloody awful as we speak. And if we look at Bruno Fernandes' numbers right now, hopefully you can see that on screen. This is Bruno, by the way. I know you can't see the face, but 0.44, this is expected goal involvement, 0.67, 0.32, really steady returns, 0.6 pretty much in terms of his per 90 minutes expected goal involvement. That's massive. That is really good for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, we know Haaland's blanked the last 2 game weeks, and it's not been great. But his numbers were still fantastic against Newcastle. This was the big anomaly alongside that of Aston Villa. Am I worried about Erling Haaland? No. I'm not scared to captain him. It's more whether at my rank at 55k, do I double down and go even more aggressive on somebody like a Bruno Fernandes? So let's just take a look at my team a minute, because I'm trying not to be just focused on the 1 game week. I want to be a bit more longer term perspective. Now, a reminder, in game week 16, we get topped up to 5 free transfers. So if you didn't know that, like, take a look at the top left where it says transfers. They jump you up straight to 5. So if you have 3 in game week 15, they'll give you an additional 1 in game week 16. So really try and use as many transfers as you can. Now, for me, in game week 14, what I'm looking at first and foremost is, what am I missing? What am I missing in terms of the actual fixture standout? Well, if I just quickly run it through from top to bottom, the teams I actually feel like I'm missing out on, maybe a bit of Man City defensively, but do I feel absolutely sure of Man City keeping clean sheets? Not really. Arsenal, I don't have an offensive player or a double defence, which is not ideal. Really, outside of that, I don't feel like I'm missing much, I'm going to be honest. That's why I feel like Arsenal investment is quite important for me this week. Now, if we look at my team, Saka is the big absentee. And I do think Saka will start, and I think he probably gets really good minutes. He just always does. But in order for me to get Bukayo Saka, I can't sell anybody other than Ismaila Sarr. If I sell Ismaila Sarr and I bring in Bukayo Saka, I then need to free up, as you can see at the top, 1.6 million in order to go there. So that's going to be something like Mateta out, which is fine, but is there any alternatives right now that I really want to bring in? Knowing that my squad still looks pretty thin as we speak, you know, if we do that, I still need to free up 1.6 million, and that is going to be coming out of quite important players in general. So I could take out a Senesi and maybe do something like Senesi to, let's think of a name who's really cheap. Let's put, oh, he's not cheap, he's similar price, Chow. I still got to free up money. I think the Saka route for me, I'm just going to roll the dice and pray that Saka comes off after 65 minutes, and then game week 15 away against Aston Villa, not a fixture that I'm hugely concerned not to have Saka in, knowing that I need to bring him in for game week 16. So I just don't think there's an easy way for me to get Saka. I'm just going to roll the dice and hope for the best. So for that reason, I think it makes sense for me to go defensive. So really, selling Senesi to Jurrien Timber, I personally think with the absentees of Saliba and Gabriel, Arteta's rolling the dice if he takes out Timber as well in that back line. I just don't think he'll do that. Even though I think Ben White deserves a bit of game time, it's worth noting to improve Saka as a pick. So if Timber comes in, then straight away my team looks a bit better. I'll be playing a back 4 in midfield and 2 up top, which is absolutely fine. But look, I've got to use transfers, and Sarr being sat in the team right now isn't really helping. And I think I need some depth in this squad regardless. So another proposal I have is possibly selling Ismaila Sarr and bringing in Minter. Now, do I think Minter is a phenomenal pick? No, I don't. But do I think that he is a steady pick who could do well? Yes. Next 2 fixtures are Aston Villa and West Ham. So my team will look like this for game week 14, which is no doubt an improvement. Yes, I don't have Arsenal offensive, but I do back them to keep a clean sheet. Then in game week 15, my team will look like this. Minter at home against West Ham, fantastic. I probably would actually start Thiago over Enzo if Spurs continue to look really rubbish. And when I look at the fixtures for game week 15, who am I really missing? City against Sunderland, but I don't really think that is a fixture right now that is predictable. Newcastle against Burnley will be the one where I use my one free transfer to really go for a 1 week punt possibly. Otherwise, I'm pretty content with the rest of the team. Possibly what I might do is Mateta to Voltemada if Mateta gets significant minutes in midweek. But I can address game week 15 once we get there. And then in game week 16, this will be the time for me to bring in Bukayo Saka and make a plan in place to get him in. I think that'll be really important for my team in general. So, guys, let me know your thoughts are in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are in the chat. Do you think that is a solid move? I just don't think I can get to Saka sensibly this week. It would take a -4 when I think there is upside in owning someone like a Jurrien Timber. Let me know your thoughts. I'm just going to quickly check out Twitter just to see if there's been any kind of like in the nose about certain lineups. And I can't really see too much right now, which is obviously the case. I don't expect to see any lineups right now, but I can see right now 54% of people are going for Erling Haaland, and then I think 32% are going for Bruno, and we have got 12% going for Saka. So again, me avoiding Saka this week is scary, but sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it worth ripping up the team in order to go there? I'm the opposite. I have Saka but want Bruno in. Wow, okay, that's quite interesting to see that kind of thought process. I'm going to take down the captaincy now because I think we've got enough information from that. So that's probably the route that I'm planning to go. Get an Arsenal defender. I think Timber long term is the one that I want to own. And then it comes down to Minter versus Anderson. I do think Anderson is a good pick, and it would free up some further funds in my team. And I think a few people have been asking about some which one would you pick? Question mark. Would you go for Minter or would you go for Anderson? This is Forrest Anderson. Because I do think that Anderson just enables a bit more money for the rest of my team if I want to invest it. But to be honest, I don't think I need all of that money in game week. In this game week. So let's go back to the chat because I'm conscious that you guys have got a lot of questions. I want to make sure I get through them. So, Haaland triple captain, I just don't think that's the week. If you look at the fixtures for him coming up, let me just drop them on your screen right now. If I can get it up, guys, apologies. So in terms of Haaland's fixtures coming up, I see no reason to do it this week when you have got, you can't even see it, but basically, he's got West Ham in game week 17. He's got West Ham in game week 17. That's the week I think you should really go there. Senesi for Riley, Bruno for Caicedo, taking a -4. I've covered that one off, mate. I think it's good. One to start. Who do I choose? Xhaka, Thiago, Anderson, or Gravenberch? So I think if you own... if I owned Anderson, and that's the Forest one, I probably would play him. Why captain Bruno over Haaland? Right now, I probably am this. At the time of recording, I'm slightly on Haaland as opposed to Bruno. Sorry, I left that on as an earlier thing. I honestly think you could roll the dice this week. I think it could go any different way. Could I see Man City just sweeping Fulham aside and winning 2-3-0? Yeah, I can see that. Could I see Bruno Fernandes bagging a brace late on in that game against West Ham? Absolutely. There's no denying that Bruno Fernandes' fixture is better. Hi Nacho, I don't have Haaland, so who is the best captain for Bruno, Mbeumo, Saka, Voltemada? I would say Bruno myself. I would say Bruno. Senesi for Riley, I've covered that one off, mate. Should I buy Bruno Guimaraes or Rice? Oh, I don't mind Bruno Guimaraes as a pick, to be honest with you. I would say about Rice is, if you buy him, does it block other avenues for you? That is all. Just make sure it's not blocking other things in your team. Senesi replacement. If I can't afford Virgil van Dijk and already have Timber, Konate better fixtures. I don't love Konate myself personally. Chow probably better long term, but not great to start this week. Spurs. Spurs are looking really poor right now. Ask any Spurs fan. I actually think Chow is a perfectly fine replacement if you want to go there. I kind of covered off a little bit. I do think Nico O'Reilly also is a nice pick if you want to go there and you don't own him already. Chow, good for defensive contributions. I think he's locked in that place as the right-sided centre-back. Timber and O'Reilly very much just a case of attacking threat as opposed to defensive contributions. And of course, clean sheets alongside that. I'll leave this on screens for a minute if anyone wants to check it out. I'm taking out Sign. I have the money for Foden, but I'm thinking of buying Gakpo instead. Also, I think Gakpo is a perfect example of a really good pick for the next couple of weeks. If you look at Gakpo's numbers, 0.57 expected goal involvement is really good. Played the full game in game week 13. You be the decider whether that's good or bad, really. But then when you look at the fixtures, Sunderland then Leeds, really good. I don't mind it. And then when you get to game week 16, we all got 5 free transfers. You can decide then whether you want to keep a Liverpool player or not. Can I go Gakpo? I just don't know if I can justify it myself. I just don't know about those minutes fully. In Mbeumo, it sounds like you might get 14, 15 and 16 possibly from Brian Mbeumo. So just keep until Amrim gives us full clarity on what the decision is. Gakpo or Rice, look, I think Gakpo for me. Chase the upside of Gakpo for the next few weeks and then you can sell him. But also know that you are bringing in a player that, of course, is a bit of a minute's risk. Start and Die or Bowen. Remind me who West Ham have got. West Ham have got Man United away. I'd probably start and Die. And I'd probably be looking to sell Bowen, if anything. Dewsbury Hall or Anderson to buy. I think I would go for Anderson myself. I think he's just got a better floor of points. And what I mean by that is I just think he will get 4 points regularly. And to be honest with you, at a 5.3 million option, I think that's not bad. It's a player that I do need to actually just decide whether he's good for my team or not. Because if we look at my options here, if I bring him in, it frees up some funds. You get him for the Wolves game, which is good. And then you got him for the Everton game. Spurs, Fulham, Man City. Obviously, we can sell him by now. He's not bad. I would say I don't know what I expect from Anderson, though. That's the only thing. I think the expectation and the hope from Minter is probably a bit greater than that of Anderson. I think Anderson's quite a steady Eddie pick. And over the next 2 weeks, with 5 free transfers being given to us, I kind of feel like I want to chase the upside a little bit. I'm just checking on Twitter once again to see if there's any sort of news right now. See if there's anything going on, which I can't really see. And I'll be surprised if there was any news. Yeah, I can't really see too much right now. Sorry, guys. We're just seeing if there's anything on Twitter right now regarding the usual stuff. Yeah, I can't really see too much going on Twitter, so it is very much that. I think I probably will have to get my transfers locked in a second. Chow game time, I mean, he's been really good right now. I just don't really see why he needs to be benched, to be honest. Just quickly double checking Minter again before we go there. And a quick reminder of Minter actually as a option, because to be honest with you, when I look at his actual numbers, I don't love them. I'm going to be honest. Like 0.13, 0.33, 0.21, 0.36. Like they're really just like steady, and he's more of like he's like a meh sort of player. But look at him at home: 9 against Leeds, 11 against Brentford, 9 against Spurs. Some big scores there at home, and we've got 3 of the next 4 at home. I just think there could be something there with Minter possibly, or Brighton in general. It looks like away from home, their form really does dip. Everton lost, Bournemouth lost, won against Chelsea, shock, drew against Wolves, the worst team in the league, lost to Man United, drew to Villa, drew to Palace. Obviously a great win against Forest, but we need to remember Forest, of course, played in Europa League, which had a big impact on them. I think we're going to go Minter. And just hope that he absolutely smokes up Digne and he actually starts. So I think I'm just going to get this locked in. I think I've gone through it enough in terms of my plan. I think he looks good for this week. Still keeps me some money in the bank, and I'm bringing in Timber, by the way. I don't really see why I wouldn't. And then in game week 15, I could do anything, kind of like any move, but I just need to make sure it doesn't detriment me in the future. So what I'm quite tempted to do as a 1 game week punt is almost do this. Mateta out, Voltemada in, literally just for the Burnley game, for example. And then in game week 16, when we've been topped up to 5 free transfers, sell Voltemada, funny enough, bring in Mark Gui, and then upgrade Ndai because he offers nothing to me then, to Bukayo Saka. And then I would start Enzo, and I probably would start that. And that would be my game week 16 team, which I think is pretty good. I think that's a pretty good team. I've got a route into Saka. Mintez not great for game week 16, of course, away against Liverpool. But honestly, would I also just happily play Minter against Liverpool? Yeah, I probably would. And in game week 16 here, who are the big fixtures? Well, funny enough, Elliot Anderson here. But could I also maybe make room for Anderson over this week and bring somebody in? Yeah, I think there is an option there. So I think that's the plan. I think just to give you guys an update before I make the transfer, Senesi to Timber, Sarr to Minter. 15, Mateta to Voltemada as a 1 week punt against Burnley. Game week 16, once we get given all these transfers, Voltemada to Mark Gui and then Ndai to Saka, because Ndai is just going to the African Cup of Nations. And then game week 17 onwards is going to be whatever we want, but it will be a triple captain on Erling Haaland. I'm happy with that. I think that's absolutely fine. We're going to roll the dice without Bukayo Saka and see how it is. So let's make some transfers live on stream, why don't we? Because that is quite fun. That is an old slide, apologies. So let's get this done. How exciting making this on stream. Wow. Never do this. And Timber. If Timber doesn't play, Timber doesn't play. It is what it is. And it also means that I get to, I'm just checking on my other screen, I get to bench Anderson. So then the worst case scenario, Anderson comes in for that fixture. And I'm benching Thiago, by the way. But I just back Arsenal. I think Arsenal are way better. Way better. Okay, let's get this done. Don't feel that stressed about this. It's the captaincy which is going to stress me in a minute. So let's do that. So just to say, you can't see it on the screens, but I can't bought an extender. Senesi out to Ewan Timber. Sarr out to Minter. It's done, baby. It's done. Minter starting instead of the boy Thiago. I'm sorry, my friend. Ewan Timber coming in for Anderson. And then obviously, I think it makes sense to have Thiago for a sub, just like as in if he does score a goal off the bench, then happy days, or he gets a penalty. Yeah, done. What I got to do, guys, is just quickly, I apologise, update everybody about my team on WhatsApp. So give me 2 seconds. By the way, guys, anyone who's stressing about like the likes of like, you know, let me just pin something in here for those that are wondering about what I've done. So Senesi to Timber. Yeah, I agree. Thiago gets 2 points or 8 points, nothing else. Agree. And then I've done, guys, what have I just done? Sarr to Minter. Sorry, that is my game week moves. That's what I've done, guys. Senesi to Timber and Sarr to Minter. I'm going to be honest. I honestly think we can keep Senesi. I just think the fixtures are pretty rubbish. No, I haven't taken a points hit. These were 2 free transfers, just to say, anyone wondering. Sorry, guys. I'm just updating here. That, and then Sarr to who? Minter. Cool. One more, guys. Antonio, what have you said? Bro, what do you think? Will Timber play or Arteta will bench him? My personal opinion is this. Saliba's out, Gabriel's out. Is he going to play White, Mosquera, Hincapié, whatever his name is, and one other? I just can't get behind it. I just can't get behind it. I'm happy to have Timber. And honestly, if Timber gets benched, worst case scenario, Anderson comes in at home against Man City for inevitably his defensive contributions. Just putting in here, game week 14 team selection. Sorry guys. Minter. And what else would guys, I got awful memories. Senesi to Amiel and Timber. And then captain. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, captain is still TBC. For those who are young and know the lingo, that means wait. TBC is to be continued. I mean TBD, to be decided. Christ almighty. Cool. That's put right. I'm back. I just had to put that on the chat. Right. Palmer. I love it as a 1 week punt. Do I think he plays this midweek and then doesn't play on the weekend? Yeah, I think that's very, very, very likely. Would you start Enzo or Minter or Ndai? I would rank those as probably Enzo's lost penalties now. So I'll probably have Minter 1, Enzo 2, and Ndai 3. Captain Munoz, no, it's brave. It's brave. But it's against Burnley, so it's not terrible. Guys, for those that wondered about my moves, I've just posted them and pinned it on the chat. 2 free transfers. Ollie, I think you've put a question in the chat about a point sit. I think a point sit is absolutely fine if you want to make one. Just seeing here. Yeah, to be to be confirmed. Yes, of course, not continued. Christ almighty. Bloody idiot. Take Graham Birch out for Minter. I don't mind that, but at the end of the day, Liverpool at home against Sunderland. I think it's a good move, but could Graham Birch just randomly get a goal? Yeah, I think he could as well. Sorry. Right, so what we got? Get your stuff in the chat, guys, because we have got 13 minutes. We just got a side captaincy now. We got to decide captaincy. Thoughts on Mateta captain? I'm just worried about his minutes. He'll be coming off a little bit early. It's just one of those where I'm a little bit like, oh, it could be a little bit of a risk. Truffett or O'Reilly? I think if I owned O'Reilly, there's no world I could bench him. Ollie, you asked, what are the moves that you've made, mate? Sorry, I got distracted. Hope you're good. This is what I'm currently working with going into the work. Going Sarr to Minter or go Senesi to Royal Chow. Only got 1 free transfer. Based on your team, mate, I think the bigger upside pick is probably doing the Minter move because your actual defense is perfectly fine. So I probably would do the Sarr to Minter move and then you can keep Senesi and then address him the following game week. It's probably what I would look for personally. That's what I would probably look to do. Sarr to Minter for a -4. If you have nobody else in your squad and you are literally going to play 10 men otherwise, or the guy who's coming in is woeful, then yeah, selling Sarr because we know he's out long term is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Kruby to start, thoughts? Well, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea. But if I watch my forward steal a goal off the line and miss a sitter, then I would be asking the question, is he firing on all cylinders? So I think Krupi regardless gets okay minutes. I would start him if I owned him, yes, against Everton, who were a little bit all over the shop off the back of the last week. Started Riley or Welbeck. again, that is a really tricky one. But I just think if I owned O'Reilly, I think the upside's there. I probably would be going for O'Reilly. O'Reilly or Chow, I think it depends what you want. As I discussed here, I think Chow is just a very steady pick. Great for DEFCON. Don't be used to him scoring all the time because he got his brace in the same game in terms of his 2 league goals come in game week 13. But I think Chow's a nice steady pick. O'Reilly, though, I think has the real big upside and has those big fixtures like West Ham at home in 17 and stuff. So, yeah, I probably would be saying O'Reilly if you can get there for this game week. Haaland or Bruno captain, that is the decision that I've got right now. And I'm going to be honest, like, this is just one of those sort of things where I think you just make the call whatever your gut's telling you. And I do think it will be the difference between a red and a green arrow. So, look, firstly, Haaland plays tonight. So, if you're one of those where you don't like the first kickoff, then my answer is going to be Bruno Fernandes. Because if you get to if you get to Thursday on a green arrow and you still have your captain Bruno to go, you basically have got a green arrow guaranteed. But also we have to remember we are in a bubble. Haaland's ownership from a captain perspective is going to be huge in comparison to Bruno Fernandes. It just is. Like, everyone's talking about they own Bruno. Well, Bruno's only 18% owned in the game. So it's not like he is a monster owned pick, whereas Haaland's 72% owned in the game. So Haaland's going to hurt a lot more people if he does well. And of course, Bruno blanks. Whereas you could actually have a world where Haaland is captained in blanks. You still own Bruno and you gain even if he does score. On the flip side, if you captain Bruno and it blanks in Haaland as well, that really does hurt you. So it's all about your risk appetite. I honestly think it's close either way. I wouldn't be surprised if I last minute here just chuck it on Bruno if I want to be a bit more kind of chasing the upside, because I do think West Ham are bloody awful, I'm going to be honest. And I do think Anderson is going to be right for DEFCON here. Realistically, Haaland is a strategic option, but God, I want to go with Mateta. Yeah, honestly, go there if you want to go there. Bench one of Burn, Gahey or Virgil. Can't bench Virgil at home. I know they've been woeful, but I just don't think you can do it. So I would be saying, well, where's your thing gone? I've just lost it. Bench one. I'll be benching, bloody hell, I don't even know who I'll bench, because I think Burn's good as well, but it probably would be Burn. Start Gahey. Got a super chat here. Thanks so much, by the way. Sutton 6, is it? Using my free hit, who should I target? Well, I'm going to be honest. Didn't really think there were many free hits in game week 14, so this is quite fun. Right, I'm just going to read them out because I don't actually know exactly what I would do. But look, end of the day, realistically, if I was free hitting this week, what would I go for? Who are the obvious ones we got to chase? I think you got to go for triple Arsenal. I would probably go for take the punt on Timber, and then I probably would go for Saka, and then you could even roll the dice on Gyökeres. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's quite exciting. Bruno Fernandes, definitely. I probably have Brian Mbeumo in that. I would have, I think I would have a Palace defender. I probably would have someone like a Livramento maybe as well. Haaland, of course. Foden I probably would have in there as well. And I think Semenyo's not a bad pick as well in that team. Otherwise, then it comes down to how big you want to go. So I think Cole Palmer is also a player that could be quite tasty on a free hit, my friend. So I think based on that, again, it's only 7 minutes till deadline. So I do apologise. I haven't got time to draft a free hit, but target those teams. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. I'll make sure I answer it, mate. Don't drop another super chat on here because it is too generous as it is. But think about a free hit team and you're targeting players. It's triple Arsenal. I'll go 1 defence minimum, maybe 2. Raya, maybe Timber and Saka. But if you want to do Gyökeres, that's the big differential. Palmer's the real big differential this game week. I don't mind that against Leeds. And then with Liverpool, again, I do think that Salah is a fantastic differential in that free hit if you want to go there. I think we should probably lock in captain, shouldn't we? Let's get captain. Let's do one last poll with 7 minutes to go. Who is the best? I'm going to be honest. When I done this earlier, it was literally Haaland or Bruno based on the previous poll. So I'm just going to do it right now between those two. Who would you go for? Bruno or Haaland? Bruno or Haaland? Haaland at 56. I just got this feeling that just like we're just going to remember how good Haaland is, and he's just going to bag a goal in the first half, goal in the second half. I kind of want that to happen so I can clip it almost. Yeah, I'm just seeing right now if there's anything going on. Is there anything popping? Guys, please let me know in the chat who you're going for as captaincy. 60% currently are going for a certain Erling Haaland. But I think it's close. I think it's really close. I think Bruno could easily do well. And could I see Man United just beating West Ham quite comfortably? Yeah, 100%. Do I buy Vardy out or Virgil? I mean, I think both teams are actually quite poor for clean sheets. Man City's fixtures, though, are really good. I think I'd probably lean towards Vardy out myself, but I think Virgil offers that little bit of, threat. Does anyone really see Fulham keeping a clean sheet? I mean, what have they been doing recently? Their form's been pretty poor. Anderson's been taking over nicely, but I mean, the big games, they haven't really stepped up. In the big games. I think I am just going to stick with Haaland myself. Super chat here from Wolfser, is it? Apologies on mispronouncing that. Thanks so much, by the way. Barnes or Eze, triple Arsenal in for Caicedo. Look, I think Barnes is good, but can I see a moment where Gordon comes back in? Absolutely. Could I also Eze a bit of a risk? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be a bit of a Debbie Downer here. I think both are a bit minutes risks. I think Eze could easily come off early for Odegaard and Marino in that position. And I think Barnes is also a bit of a risk with somebody like Barnes. I think Barnes is a risk with Gordon as well, mate. So I'm going to be a bit of a cop-out here. But really, I'm a little bit concerned about both long-term. For this week, though, it probably would be Eze if I had to choose one. Raya, Virgil, Chalobah, Gehi, Enzo, 2 free transfers. Well, really, team looks solid. Enzo, Semenyo, Gakpo and Buemo, fine. Haaland, Mateta, João Pedro. I don't really think there's any huge moves that you can make there, to be honest with you. It's going to be, do you want to get an Arsenal defender alongside that? I can't see an easy route of you going for Saka, so I actually think it's good. I think that's absolutely fine, that team. Again, guys, I think I am going for Haaland right now as my captain. But I also do think Bruno is a great option as well. I do also think he is a good option. Cheap Minter alternatives. You're not thinking of selling him, are you? So I guess what you mean is in terms of you can't afford him. And I think it's boring, but I think Anderson is a good pick. I do think Anderson is a good pick. Timber for Senesi for -4. If you haven't got the squad to do it, then to cover him off, then yes, I think the -4 is then worth it. But yeah, I think Bruno's fantastic, but I just think Haaland's numbers are an absolute joke. Like, how many times has he hit over 1 expected goal involvement? 1, 2. I mean, I'm just going to count that against Liverpool. It basically is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times he's hit over 1 expected goal involvement in a game. Like when he played Newcastle and he blanked. Can I just say, anyone who went against Haaland that game week got so lucky. Because that was the week where people went Saka or Haaland. And Haaland literally could have scored 2 goals comfortably. And Saka was almost taking long-range pops in that game. So I think for me, I'm just going to go for the robot. And I think I'm just going to go for Saka. I think I'm going to go for Saka as my captain. Sorry, Saka as my captain. I've got my head bloody muddled. I'm going to go for Haaland as my captain. Yes. And guys, there's a minute until the deadline. I just realised that. I probably should tell people. Haaland captain for me. Is my team actually locked in? Christ almighty, we've got a minute. Raya, Richards, Timber, Virgil, Haaland captain, Bruno Weiss. Yeah, rest. I'm just going to go for Haaland, Saka the robot. Yeah, apologies. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I didn't even realise the time. I didn't realise it was a minute until the deadline. I hate these. My team's locked in. I haven't really got time to answer any more questions. I do apologise, but Haaland's going to be my captain. We're going to roll the dice. We're going to go there. Saka a robot, did I just hear? Yeah, sorry. I meant to say Haaland the robot, and then I just got my mind fried because I've been at work all day. I do apologise. And I've just combined the narrative of the Norwegian robot with Bukayo Saka. So I think that's it. I think that is it, guys. Have we hit the deadline? Boy, oh boy, we've hit the deadline. We've done it. I'm happy. No regrets. I think Bruno's fantastic, but I gain from Bruno if he does well. Not as much as others who go for the captaincy, but I'm pretty fine with my decision on Erling Haaland. I'm just hoping he just kind of goes back to basics again. I think that's what I'm going for. So we're going to have to wrap it up because I need to chill. Work was busy, stream. We got it sorted in the end, which is great. But do I regret any of the moves? No, just a reminder of what I've done. Just for people who maybe are on the stream and were wondering, who don't know. I ended up going for this. Brought in Timber, captain Haaland, and went for Minter. And then in game week 15, the plan is possibly to do Mateta to Voltemada for the Burnley game. We'll see what happens. And then in game week 16 is Operation Bukayo Saka. It's going to be getting him in because I think that is the plan to go for. So that is it. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. I'm just going to double check to see if everything has locked in. It has. Amazing. Okay. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Have a fantabulous day. I'll probably drop a video tomorrow morning because the deadline is Saturday. So if I work it backwards, team selection out Friday. Wednesday is going to have to be transfer plans early doors. And then Thursday is going to have to be almost like a review of the games that we've had so far. Guys, can you let me know the poll that I'm just going to put in? When should I release transfer? Game week 15 transfer plan video. Can you just let me know? Shall I do it tomorrow or Thursday? Because I appreciate if I do it. No. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah. Should I release it tomorrow, Wednesday, or should I do Thursday? My only thing about it is that, like, obviously, really, if I do it tomorrow, we still got loads of games to happen. Like, if you look at the fixtures of game week 14, we only had that. That's all that's going to happen. And we still got all this to happen. But if there's enough appetite for it, if you're actually a bit curious, then I could just do a transfer plan video Wednesday. Thursday, we can do a review of the games and maybe like a discussion on players. And then Friday, I can do my team selection. We'll see. Thursday probably makes more sense from an information perspective. Cool. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to go eat. And I will see you either tomorrow or Thursday. We'll see how it all plays out. Probably Thursday. It makes a bit more sense. Take care, guys. And I'll see you probably Thursday. Cheers, guys.